When you start learning German, there is something you can do which will help you make a lot more progress, and that's what I want to talk about in this video. If you're new here, my name is Alex Senoner. I've learned more than 10 languages, or sometimes I say 12, I'm not sure, I lost count. And I created learngerman in order to teach German based on my experience of learning all these languages. So when you start learning German, usually you would start by attending a course, or you would use an app, and then you do the first chapter, the second chapter, and so on. Now, there is something that you can do between these lessons, between these courses, that can really help you make progress much faster. And that is to just listen to a lot of German. For example, listen to a podcast or watch a film in German. Films are probably quite long. You can watch an episode of a series and so on. And you should do that even though you won't understand anything, because you've just done the first lesson. So of course you won't understand anything at all. So why should you do it? The point of it is to get your brain slowly adapted to hearing the language and to the patterns of the language. Every language has different patterns, different melodies. You know, French has a certain pattern, Spanish has a certain pattern, and German also has a certain pattern. And that's what the real language is like. The language that you learn in a course, that's not the real language. That's a very sterile environment, because you learn a sentence from a book or from an app, where you learn one word and then you try to match it with another word. So it's a very safe and sterile environment. But that's not what the language really sounds like. And there are a lot of people who learn languages only from textbooks, and they understand everything in the textbook, but then when they go and listen to people speak, they don't understand anything. And that is because they've never exposed themselves to what the language sounds like. So this is really helpful, to just listen a lot and get used to the patterns. And then the next day, when you go back to the language course, you will suddenly notice that a lot of things will make much more sense. For example, when you will start learning certain grammar rules, certain new structures, they won't feel so weird to you, because you have heard them somewhere. But it's not conscious. It's not like you know this grammar rule because you have heard it. It's that you have heard these words being used in this way, you've heard the patterns of the language, and then when you study this grammar rule, you will feel like, yeah, it kind of makes sense. It doesn't feel so weird. So it's that your subconscious mind has saved and stored these patterns somewhere. So yeah, that's something that I would encourage you to do, to go and listen to German a lot, even if you don't understand anything. If you just listen for like 10 minutes a day, that will be a really strong boost for your lessons. Of course, you won't learn the language only by listening to it. The real power comes when you combine listening a lot with the language classes, with the courses. And when you listen, you may sometimes hear one word here or one word there. You will train yourself to pick up the words when they're being spoken, because when people speak, that is very fast, and that is something that you also have to train yourself to hear the words when they're being spoken very fast. So try it out and let me know how it works for you. If you would want me to cover any other topics, please write them down in the comments below. I'm happy to cover any kind of topics. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.